Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of DRG. I'm Nathan. For today's episode, I thought I'd do something a little different. You guys are probably all pretty bored with the 460 rebuild. I've turned that into a great binge watching series. I guess I should have found a way to pare it down and to make it into smaller episodes. I still have more footage to post, but I'll do something different today. So, on some of my early episodes where we started with bringing the Highboy home and introducing you to the 72 Highboy, in the background you may or may not have seen the 66 F100. So I figured I would do a walk around video of the 66 F100, seeing how the walk around video of the 72 F250 two-wheel drive did pretty well. So I'm down on the lower 40 of the property, decide to park on a road that nobody's ever been on before, and well, it's because the road doesn't exist, and I figured I'd show you the 66. So what we have is a 66 F100. I found this vehicle down in Grants Pass, Oregon. The guy was trying to sell it with a huge lift kit and 460 engine and some 460 pieces that needed to be assembled and put together, and wanted decent money for. Wasn't really interested at that point, but a few months later he decided to make me an offer type of deal. So I messaged him and asked him about just selling the truck, no lift kit, no motor. And he gave me a price. I said I'd be down to get it. A couple weeks later, I drove down, picked it up, trailered it home from Grants Pass, Oregon. It was missing the tailgate. I just happened to get lucky and have a good buddy named Brian, who happens to be owner, operator, proprietor of Slick Truck Parts that does 61 through 79 Ford truck stuff, but started off doing the slicks. And he lives down near Eugene, which happens to be north of Grants Pass. So I messaged him, asked him if he happened to have a tailgate, which he happens to have a lot of, and asked him if he had one in Caribbean turquoise, and he did. So on the way home, the wife and I stopped down at Brian's place, picked up tailgate and a few other miscellaneous missing pieces that I thought I needed or knew that I needed, and brought it home, and then proceeded to spend the next year, happened to be during COVID, trying to build a 390 for it, or actually any FE. So before I went down there, because I knew it was missing a motor, I went around and picked up any and all FEs I could find in my local area. And so I went down to Idaho, picked up an FE. Didn't really, at that point, I didn't care. I have 350, 360, 390, 410, 428, whatever I could find. As long as reasonable, all there, long block core that I could use to rebuild. And I picked up one down in Idaho, south of Pullman, Moscow area. Actually, I think it was Genesee, Idaho. Picked it up, reasonable price, complete, had the 4x4 oil pan and oil pump and the pickup tube and bolt and everything, dipstick, which was great. It came out of a bump side 67, 68 F250 Highboy. Guy bought the truck, drove it home, yanked the motor out of it, and put a built like 428 or something that he had, that he stuck on the, or that 428 that he had, that he put in it, and just sold the motor as a core. I tore that motor down, and connecting rod and piston, the wrist pin lost its keeper and got into the sidewall, and I didn't really want to spend the money to sleeve a one cylinder, especially on a motor that's already 30 over. So I went on shopping, found some more 390 engines, a guy selling 390 engine that was already machined, been put together. Was having head gasket issues with it, tore it apart, and I had to, but to get that motor, I also had to take a 360 that he had. So I bought those. Not that I needed a third FE motor. Turns out the 360 that he had was actually not a horrible motor. It had been recently rebuilt as well. In fact, I'm running the cylinder heads off of that motor on this. It still had the void if removed, heat warranty tags on it. In fact, I still have that engine. It's up in the garage. It's a spare FE motor. It's a 360. But it's a spare FE motor that if I want to do something with in the future, I have it. This happens to be a C6ME block, 66, probably a 352. It was bored 50 over, uses standard 390 pistons. I used Silverlight 1131s, a flat top piston, just to try to boost compression as best as I could. I'm actually running the Elderbrock Street Master intake manifold, single plane, small runners, 70s emission stuff. Great motor, or great intake manifold if I want to go fuel injection in the future, which may or may not happen. The previous owner actually, when he was doing the 460 swap, actually prepped this for a fuel injection. He had a Holley Sniper kit. Exhaust manifold is drilled for an O2 bung. The tank has a bulkhead for a return line in it. So I went through all my FE parts, picked and chose whatever was the best of the best I've had. It is a 2U 390 crank. I had 390 rods. And then I basically ordered a kit, hung new pistons, new rings, didn't do any machine work. These heads actually checked out pretty good. They held pressure. I didn't even have to lap the valves or anything on this one. I basically just cleaned everything up, assembled it, painted it, and been driving it for a year. This is, I think, the second winter that it's set completed. It's a little dirty. Running a Street Demon 625 carb. I like them. People hate them, but I don't mind them. Works just fine. And it fires up pretty decent. I still have to do some tuning. I am running a progression ignition billet distributor, which is really cool. It's Bluetooth connected to, so it's like an HEI, electronic. No ignition box required, just an external coil, and it's Bluetooth, and I'm able to adjust timing and tuning from my Bluetooth phone as I'm driving down the road if I really wanted to, which is pretty neat. So it's the tunability on this is great. It also has a really cool remote lockout, so I can actually disconnect and turn off the ignition control module inside the distributor, so there's can't use the Ford Steal Me switch and hot wire it and jump start it and drive off, because it kills the coil, or it kills the distributor. So while building the motor, I had a long delay on camshaft, so I went through, rewired, and fixed the wiring in the dash, got the dash all rewired, redid the interior, Dennis Carpenter door panels. Reproductions are a little bit short, so those of you working on slicks, be aware. A lot of guys paint this to hide it. Nope, I'm going to advertise it as is. Maybe somebody will bring it up at a show somewhere or say something why it's short. I'll tell them this is what it is, and maybe they'll have an N with Dennis Carpenter, and Dennis Carpenter could, I don't know, add a 1/4 of an inch. This is a 65 or a 66 custom cab truck. I took the custom cab sweep day cluster out because the plastic around these gauges was broken. I did happen to get a new bezel for this. Swinson at Swinson's Early Fords on Instagram, and Bumpin' Uglies on Instagram. I think he's got a couple other, a dent side one and another one. Actually was really kind and donated one to me. I ended up picking up this at a swap meet. 35 bucks. I have the lower panel, had a bunch of other stuff. The lower panel doesn't really fit because of the column is dropped on as earlier 60, well, either the 350 cabs and the earlier Stepwell cabs. This column doesn't have the cutout, and so it doesn't quite fit right. Plus it has holes for switches that somebody added, so I didn't run the lower panel, but I swapped this. Put LEDs in everything in the dash. So these are all, everything in here is LED. Truck had a new reupholstered seat in it when I bought it. Part of what made the deal smoking hot. Fuel tank was brand new, already in there, new send-in unit, made in Taiwan. Woo! That was already in here. Here's the bulkhead for the return line for an EFI sniper system. Not the previous owner that I bought it from, but the guy before that went ahead and flex sealed the whole entire floor. You can see the flex seal here. I mean, it's flex seal on the seat belts. So he bought a Canon gray flex seal. In fact, I still have some of it. I have the can. And he unfortunately did all the way out into the rockers down in here. I went and tried stripping the flex seal from the door jambs. Did both sides and said screw it, I'm going to find a floor covering that isn't carpet that covers the whole floor. So this is I've ordered it from Rock Auto. This is ACC Auto Custom Carpets, full vinyl floor. They list it for 66. Actually they list it all the way from probably, I know for a fact 61 all the way on up. It's a full vinyl floor. There's a lot of trimming involved. It goes way up the firewall, so I had to trim all the way up there, and then it went all the way back up the back of the tank a bunch. So I mean, you trim a lot of material out of it. It's molded to the shape of the floor. It's actually fairly close mold. I do have slack in here. The corners aren't the greatest, and then I have bunching up here. They make two different tunnel heights on the floor, and I'm going to guess I have the wrong tunnel height. I could never get a clear definition. I got some answers, like they tell you or the height differences between the tunnels, but they don't tell you where they're measuring, because it's like back here meant one measurement on their measurement for low tunnel, and then the high tunnel or whatever, the measurement matched up here. And I'm like, well, great, I have both those measurements, so it is what it is. The other really cool thing that I'm working on, I haven't finished, is my custom headliner. And this draws a lot of attention. So me being cheap like I am, went to go get a headliner because it was missing the headliner. Yeah, all right. Price of headliner's not bad. It's reasonable. And then shipping's more expensive than the headliner. And I'm like, I'm not paying more for shipping than I am for the headliner. It's cardboard. It's not heavy. Yes, it's awkward shaped. I'll give them that much. But really? So, me being cheap, I'm like, well, I ain't doing that. I'll come up with something else. Something a little more original. And with the cardboard, you got to be really careful spraying them, getting them wet, and making the curve back here and the curve back here for the pillar posts. I'm like, you know, if I'm gonna buy a brand new cardboard headliner and then spray it down with water, get it soft so I could shape it, I might as well just go ahead and do something else. So I came up with the idea of a license plate headliner. Some of these are donated. I had a gentleman that picked up some the motor and transmission out of the Mustang. He brought me the Nevada plates. So the Nevada plate was from him. The Alaska plate was from him. Some of these are swap meet plates. The Tennessee plate, Virginia plate, and this other Virginia plate were donated by Farmer and Son on Instagram. I believe they have a YouTube channel as well. Check them out. They're fellow Ford folks. Let's see. A lot of these I bought at swap meets. I have a buddy, Chris Hatton, that gave me a bunch of Idaho plates. They're not up here yet. I'm going to use probably an Idaho plate over the door over there to finish that gap. And then I got to try to figure out these corners, they're multiple directional curve. Little interesting. So I could cut the shape out easy enough. It's just trying to get it the curve in here that I need. It'll be a sandbag and dead blow probably, or ball peen. It's not perfect, but it's different. It's neat. Some visors are going to be made from license plates as well. I have the visors and the brackets. They're up in the house. I'll just go ahead and just have to get more license plates because I'm thinking of cutting those up and making a phrase or saying or something out of them right across the front, like maybe 1966 F100 on one side and then say something else on the back side because I plan on doing both sides. One thing I learned about the headliner license plate is a lot of these license plates are reflective. Not all of them, but some of them are, or a good chunk of them are. And driving at night, oncoming cars light up the cab. Just for your FYI, if you ever decide to do something similar. Had 15-inch wheels, standard 235 tires on it when I bought it. Once again, Swenson at Swenson's Early Fords was kind enough to sell me some 16-inch wheels, and then I found some 750 16 tires. Love the look. Tires are a little skinny. If I did it again, I'd probably do something different for tires. As if you look, they're tiny, they're skinny. They're like 33-inch tall, which is great, but they're 7.5 inches wide. Pizza cutters. I ended up having to powder coat them. I went through a month of stripping the wheels down after work, doing it by hand, no sandblaster, so wire wheeling inside, front and back side of the wheels, got them down to bare metal. And then once I got all 4 stripped, I then went and primered all of them one at a time, let them dry, and then it was a coat of paint. I used a Krylon, I think Dover. Krylon Dover was what I ended up finding that I liked the color of, some close to that. Did the Krylon Dover, painted all of them, basically one wheel a week, maybe 2. They sat for about a month, and then I went and I'm like, oh, I'll clear coat them. Yeah, that's where I screwed up. Even though I used Krylon clear coat, I figured Krylon paint, Krylon clear coat, the two would communicate, work well together. Clear coat was too hot and it actually blistered the paint. So I ended up having to stripped the wheels all down again. Except this time I said screw it. Went to the wheel man here in Spokane, Washington. Had them powder coated. And that's where I'm at. So I got powder coated. This is vanilla ice cream color. The Heritage White was discontinued when I did my wheels. Well, supposedly they have since brought it back. The silver hubcaps with the red were found on eBay. Bought them, had them shipped here. All I did was clean them up and threw some clear coat on them. So it's got some aftermarket cab lights. They are LED. I had to go through a couple sets of light bulbs to find ones because the first set of light bulbs were so bright it looked like one giant light bar. Not exactly something I wanted to do. And if you notice, I got lights, wipers, lighter, emergency flasher, and another light knob, and then your fan knob. And you're like, well, why do I have two light knobs? I got creative, used a 64 headlight switch and knob and bezel, which was in the box of parts that came with this dash cluster from a swap meet. And I wired up the headlight switch for the cab lights, for the fog lights, Unity fog lights, and the Unity reverse light. I found this at a local antique thrift store. $10, couldn't beat it. Came home, first thing I did when I came home was test it, and immediately burned out the light bulb. Didn't even think about 6-volt lights, but yep, that was a 6-volt light bulb, so I'll have to order or get another light bulb for that. I went ahead and installed trailer wiring, installed a quick single little stinger hitch, 5th hitch. It's just bolted to the bumper. It's for a small, well, it's for a boat. Yes, I have a boat that happens to match the color scheme. It's green and white. It matches. Bed, extremely dirty, but it's there. I want a line exit at some point. I don't plan on painting it. Fires right up. Has your typical FE exhaust leak. It's over here at this manifold. It's got the original exhaust on it. It's all Ford, including the muffler. It's just got a single turn down with a little bit of a tailpipe rusted off right back here, but what's left of it's still there. Had to straighten this bumper and tweak it out a little bit and get it bolted up. Had to re-weld it. My ugly welded by Ray Charles welding. I haven't ground it down yet. I don't remember if that's a hardened bumper. Common aftermarket bumper, dealer installed bumper. West Coasts all seem to be like out of I think a Hardin or Barden Bumper Inc. This one happens to be, I think if I remember correctly, was the Oregon location, Portland, or maybe it was Beaverton. It's got a quirky tail light issue. it fixes itself, or I'll get it fixed and then it sits over the winter and then goobers back up. Yeah, there we go. This would be my 66 F100 390 NP 435 4-speed with granny low. Granny low is kind of fun, especially in 4-wheel drive. I currently have it in 4. It's just a single in-out 4-speed or 4-wheel drive. So you got 2 high, 4 high. That's it. No 4 low. Throw it in 4 high, put it in granny low, and it'll actually do the ghost crawl. I'm not brave enough to do that, but it'll do it. Put it in 4 low, and you can get out of the truck and just walk along next to it. It'll ghost crawl. But there we go. There we have it. Ugly dents and all. My plan are to do Poppy's patina on it. I have it. I just haven't had the great weather to do it. Actually, the inside of the dash, or the inside of the truck dash and doors, has the semi-gloss Poppy's patina on it. So when I stripped the dash down, took everything off, redid the wiring, cleaned everything, cleaned it, the dash and everything, I did the wipe-on clear coat before I semi-gloss wipe-on clear coat before I put it all back together. So the dash is and the interior is actually clear coated. It's got 2 coats of semi-gloss. This section here was me playing around with a little bit of leftover semi-gloss just to kind of see what it'll do. It's going to get scuffed back up when I wash it and strip it, but if you're just using what's left, it is kind of streaky, but I still got to wash it. I don't plan on keeping the rust runs. This stuff here will all stay, and this down here, the wear here, I'll lose the texture, but other reason I haven't done it is I'm trying to get my miscellaneous door mirrors holes that I welded shut. I need to get them to rust up so it'll blend in and not be as obvious. But yep, dents and all, it's going to be clear coated and shined up. I might try to knock that one out. I knocked one out here. You can still see parts of it if you look hard enough, but it's less obvious. And I don't know what it is about these slicks, but they sure like to get a hooey in the fenders. I had another 66. It was the passenger side, but it had like the same hooey. I don't know if it's like a wheel fell off or what, but they get hooeyed in here. I tried hammering this one out, using the airbag behind to get it to pop out, and I'm not a very good body man. I ain't gonna lie. I just didn't. Well, some of it came out, but I don't think it made it look. I don't think it made it look any better. It's still ugly. I got the middle of this one to pop out, but it created a low spot here and a low spot here. This one I'm not even going to attempt to, because I think there's reinforcement right here that I can't get to. She ain't the prettiest, but that's alright. I like it. It looks good, runs good, drives alright, stops alright. For a little driver, heck, I've even used it to haul stuff. I had a huge mound of probably 3 yards, 4, definitely not 4, 2-3 yards of beauty bark in it. Not super heavy by any stretch of the imagination, but it was mounted up over the top of the bed. Well, this is where I'm going to call it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you liked it, click like, subscribe, share, comment, Help me out with the YouTube algorithm, and I'll catch you on the next time. You'll get to see more of the 460 build. Yay! Yeah, I'm tired of it too.